Good everyone. I hope you guys have an amazing day. So, what I'll be doing today, as you can see from my screen, the topic for today, the HubSpot versus Salesforce. So, this article is not written by me; it's by Janet and Rob. So, I'm not taking any credit whatsoever because obviously I didn't write this article, right? But that being said, I wanted to talk about, you know, what HubSpot is all about. Is it really worth the investment, or should you consider Salesforce? Because based on my personal observation, right, I've been seeing a lot of trend where people have been started to talk about HubSpot going to take over Salesforce, yada yada, right? Now, Salesforce is, as you know, right, it's a CRM platform, right? Similar, the HubSpot is pretty much the same, but what's the difference, right? Why should you consider one over another? Now, as you know, that Salesforce is in this game for a long time, right? I mean, Salesforce has evolved over the course of time. If you've been a Salesforce user or a customer or Salesforce architect or a developer or a consultant, you would know the power which Salesforce holds, right? The things which Salesforce can do, right? But that being said, right, if you take our biased hat away, just ask yourself this question: is Salesforce really a true solution to everything to do with the CRM? Or, I mean, in terms of cost and other aspects, right? I understand that when you're talking about from an enterprise scale, right, you might think Salesforce fits the bucket of, you can recommend Salesforce all kind of different functionality. But when you're talking about the small scale business, right, the first question you should be asking if you're a consultant or if someone who wants to recommend CRM, is Salesforce the right solution? Or should you be considering Microsoft CRM, right? There are a lot of questions you should be asking there, right? Like I've been working with Salesforce for quite a long time, right? But I consider myself as a technology agnostic. I worked on SAP. I worked on Unit 4 Business World. I've been a C Sharp architect for a while, right? I worked on Delphi. I started with C programming, right? So for me, today is Salesforce, tomorrow is something else. I'm not, you know, uh, how do I say? I'm not the kind of person, who will say that, okay, you should be using only this tech because I've invested a lot of my time and energy into it. That's not how I look at it. I look at it from a business aspect, right? What is it that business wants to do? What is the problem that business wants to solve? And at the same time, how much funding they got, right, to solve this problem. So these are the questions which I'm mostly interested in, rather than, looking at from a technology solution aspect, right? So um, HubSpot and Salesforce, right? HubSpot, one of the few things I wanted to talk about. Like I said, this is not my article. Someone else written it, so I'm just going through it. And I do like these articles, and plus it's 2024, so it's quite relevant. So I thought I might as well talk something from it. So I'm not taking any credit from this article, and please don't, quote me that I plagiarized it. I'm not. Like I said, this is not my article. I'm just referencing this article based on what they've mentioned, right? So as you can see, right, Salesforce, when it comes to Salesforce and HubSpot, Salesforce is really a popular CRM, right? You take any country, you take United States, you take Australia, you take New Zealand, you take Europe. Salesforce has been quite popular there, right? So especially US market, right? AT&T uses Salesforce, big pharma's uses Salesforce, bank uses Salesforce. I worked on a couple of pharma projects in for Australia. They use Salesforce. In New Zealand, most of our government agencies use Salesforce. So Salesforce is really popular, right? Now, you must be wondering, okay, so why are we talking about HubSpot, right? If Salesforce is really that popular. The reason why I wanted to talk about HubSpot, like I said, right? I agree Salesforce really works when you're talking about enterprise level solution. But what about the small business, right? Do you really need Salesforce there, right? Can you use HubSpot? HubSpot at this stage, I do agree that it's not to the level of Salesforce to even start talking about enterprise level. But that being said, for a small to medium scale business, HubSpot is really proving to be a big competitor for Salesforce. So, and I think so it's worth discussing about it. So it is a CRM, right? Like Salesforce. And as you can see that, I'll show the comparison metrics in a minute. And I'll also show you the look and feel about each and every software so that you get an idea what I'm talking about. So, and also, it's my personal opinion. If you have used one CRM, it won't be much of a learning curve if you are moving to another CRM because the concepts are pretty much similar. But now the good thing about HubSpot is, right, if you're a Salesforce user, a lot of things will be familiar to you when you're using HubSpot, and a lot of automation aspect. It's just the naming is a bit different, but the concept is pretty much the same. So yeah, okay. So as you can see from the rating, it's 4.2 here, 4.1 here. Not too bad. I mean, you might say, it doesn't really matter. A point 0.1 rating, it does matter though, if you're looking at an international scale. But that being said, as I mentioned before I start this video, that in the beginning of my presentation, that Salesforce been in this business for a long time. HubSpot is new, so I'm not surprised to see this rating. But that being said, 4.1, right? Being a new product, it's pretty amazing, right? So you should give credit to that. Okay, now let's look at some of the pricing aspect, right? Because one of the important things people get missed when they talk about what technology, because they get too passionate about it, they forget about the pricing model, which is really important, right? Because if I'm a business, I'll be interested. Okay, I get it. You have this solution, you have that solution, but tell me the pricing model, right? That's more important because I have to see if I got enough funding, right? It doesn't matter your product can do, can take us to Mars. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. Point is whether we can afford your software to begin with, right? I agree that your software can do a lot of things, but it all boils down to funding. So starting price, HubSpot free, right? So which is an advantage compared to Salesforce? Now 25, and if you're a small term business, right? If you're a small business user, think, okay, let me ask you this, right? Let's take a step back. You're a small business user or a medium-sized business user, and you've seen the ranking. Salesforce 4.2, HubSpot 4.1. Now, if you see that starting prices for the Salesforce $25 per month per user, and HubSpot is free. Give me an honest answer. Putting a business user hat, which one would you be more willing to give a shot at it? Are you willing to try HubSpot or willing to try Salesforce? My first initial reaction as a business person will be, let's give HubSpot a try. It's free, right? The reason why I'm saying is, if you look at it, the free trial, yes, I get it. It's only 14 days, and Salesforce has 30 days. But if I wanted to just, you know, investigate or test out few products, then I would say HubSpot really stand out compared to Salesforce, right? And ease of use, right? And the learning curve. That's very important, right? You're starting out for the first time. You're a new CRM user. You never use CRM, let's say, before. You don't have admins in place. You wanted to give it a try. You wanted to see whether it works as per your expectation. If you wanted to try whether it will fit your business process, right? Whether you can map your business process into CRM. People do that, right? And Salesforce was a little bit overwhelming because there are a lot of things to learn. HubSpot is easy, so HubSpot wins there, right? Contact management, you can do in both the systems. Lead management, you can do in both the systems. Email marketing, you can do in both the systems. Sales forecasting, Salesforce is pretty good at that. So do HubSpot. Built-in automation, like Salesforce got flows. So HubSpot got something called workflows and other automation. I'll show you in a second. Reporting, so right, you can create your own reports and dashboards. You can do the same in HubSpot, right? E-commerce integration, you can do that, right? Customization is something which Salesforce stands out. You got LWC component, you got Aura, sorry, not Aura. My apologies. I don't know why I even mentioned Aura, which is a legacy tech. I was about to talk about Apex. You got Apex for backend service processing, and for front end you have LWC, right? Using a JavaScript, ECMAScript 6 you can use. For and you got formula fields and kind of stuff, right? And when it comes to HubSpot, right? HubSpot does a lot of things very good. Customization is not up to the standard when it comes to with respect to Salesforce. So it is not bad, but it's not great, right? Because it's getting there. Like I said, it's a new product. They might have plans to, bring out new features. But that being said, right, one of the biggest complaint I have about Salesforce when it comes to Apex, there are a lot of things, right, which other programming languages use. Anonymous methods, right, which is very common in C Sharp. It's like a decade-old technology. Generics. I, it's like I feel old when I talk about it, right? Salesforce hasn't introduced this tech even now in their Apex, so it's not great from that perspective, from a compiler perspective, right? Because it's a cloud platform, it's a multi-tenant architecture, things are shared, so the Salesforce might have an excuse, right? But that being said, the if the code get compiled to the Java code behind the scene, Java has a support for generics, right? We already has somewhat support for list and other stuff, right? I don't know what's the challenge, but anyway, sorry, I digress. But what I'm trying to get, well, what I'm trying to say, Salesforce do have a great customization, but that being said, um, HubSpot is getting there, right? Analytics, right? Salesforce has you can do Einstein, you have Tableau integration, right? Uh, so HubSpot has, is a good one, right? I won't say it's better than Salesforce, but it's getting there. Customer support, right? Customer support. You can do, omni-channel. If you're talking about different omni-channel, you can do phone, you can do online message, chat, reach a center, and community forum like Trailheads and all kind of stuff, right? That being said, HubSpot also stands out. Got email, phone, online chat, HubSpot community. So, from a support perspective, I think both stands out, right? There's no winners, and you can also read if you wanted to read the review. I can take you. It's one thing I just wanted to mention. Like HubSpot offers a free plan for basic CRM needs, while Salesforce does not. This is where HubSpot stands out. I mean, I'm talking from a small to medium scale business users, right? I know Salesforce has been focusing more on the enterprise level aspect, right? They're looking to capture big players, right? Big pharma, big telecom in businesses, right? Big government agencies like education sector. So Salesforce got a lot of clouds. Like, one of the things I will be doing in one of the future episode, right? I'll be talking about different clouds, an overview of different clouds which Salesforce has. It will be useful, right, if you are not a Salesforce user and wanted to understand what all capabilities Salesforce has. So that's something I will do in a few days. Okay, so um, that's something I mentioned. This stands out, right? Now we got Monday CRM is there, Pipedrive is there, right? Monday Salesforce's CRM is sorry, Monday Salesforce. What a what a bad way I put it, right? I did a blasphemy mixing Monday CRM Salesforce together. Shouldn't have done that. My apologies. Monday CRM, right? It's one of the popular name. I often see constant YouTube ad regarding Monday CRM, and it's getting a lot of popularity, a lot of attention. So I'm not going to talk about this at this stage. Maybe in the future, right? So today is all about HubSpot, right? Now that being said, I haven't used HubSpot much. I played with it, but since it's getting very popular, so I thought might as well, give you a demo. Okay, so now I will take you to the user review. I mean, obviously, like I said, it's a Ford Advisor website, and so that you will have fairly decent understanding about what's going on, right? Let me open this in a new tab. Okay, right. Now there are a few questions here. Is Salesforce is yeah a terrific CRM, right? So this question, it depends who you're asking this, right? Is Salesforce better or HubSpot better? If you're going to ask a Salesforce guy who is extremely passionate about Salesforce or a Salesforce employee, obviously you know the answer, right? They will say, "Oh, Salesforce, any day, anywhere," right? But if you're asking somebody who worked on HubSpot, never done any work on, Salesforce before, they will say HubSpot is the better one, right? But now the biggest problem with that, if you ask a non CRM architect, right, their response will be, I have a business problem I wanted to solve, and I have a technology which I wanted to adopt. So if a HubSpot or Salesforce turns out to be the best, right, either of them, right, so an architect will give you a better idea about which one is the best way to go forward. The problem is that, like I said, right, if you're going to talk to a HubSpot user, or if you're going to talk to a Salesforce user, they have biased perception about the software because they have invested a lot of time to upskill themselves to work on a technology which they think, oh, okay, this is the way I want it to go, right? But if you wanted to have a balanced perspective, right, you better look at the business problem you wanted to solve and then map the technology based on the problem you wanted to solve, right? Okay. Now, is HubSpot cheaper than Salesforce? There are a lot of free options and there are a lot of add-ons you can do, right? And which Salesforce do not. Everything costs when it comes to Salesforce. Salesforce is a great technology. Like in New Zealand, Salesforce has been used by pretty much every government organization, from Health New Zealand to education sector to you know to social development, you name it. Salesforce is there everywhere. But is it cheaper? Not really, right? Because these are enterprise level solutions. You're talking about enterprise level platform, right? Where thousands of users, you know, interact every day uh, to serve the customers, right? So Salesforce has kind of infiltrated pretty much, I would say. But when it comes to HubSpot, it is growing, right? But to small and medium scale industries. Okay, now um, what I was saying. Okay, so okay, before I digress, let me show you how the HubSpot looks like. So you can do a free login if you wanted to do that. Pretty simple to do that. You can log in using your Facebook account or social login, what you call, or Google account. So I did that. Now you have a contacts here. So these are a nice looking tabs. So contacts, like we have contacts in Salesforce, right? And then your companies, then your calls, then if you look at the contacts, I'll show you how the contacts look like. So you can create a contact. You can do, like, I've created a contact here. It's pretty, and company name, phone number. It's you can edit the contact. So it's pretty much the same concept like in Salesforce. You have what That being said, you can control the page layout. Okay, so all this kind, and the tickets associated with that, all kind of stuff, right? Then you have conversation, like you have chatters in Salesforce. You have inbox, Salesforce inbox. You have like this. You have HubSpot inbox, snippets, templates. Then you have marketing cloud in Salesforce. So similar analogy, you can ads, you can do campaign, you can social, SEO kind of stuff, right? And you can design forms. Then you have Sales Cloud, you have prospecting, leads, and opportunities, something similar, right? Then you have Commerce Cloud, payment, invoices, codes, products. Then you have Service Cloud, like you have cases in this case. In Salesforce, you have case. Here you have tickets, right? So that similar knowledge base, customer portal, automation, like you have. So let's look at the automation, right? It's similar like your flows, right? See, as if you work with the flows, right? So something similar, as you can see. Um, I will show you the demo, but today is not a demo time, right? I just wanted to do a brief comparison. That's what I wanted to achieve. And so this is another automate you can do, right? And then you have reporting, right? And extra stuff you can buy. You can, a lot of stuff you can do. So, like you say, upgrade to Salesforce Hub Professional or start a 14-day trial. And yeah, and then when it comes to Salesforce, it has a huge learning curve. If you haven't used Salesforce, it will overwhelm you, right? So if you go here, you have lots of services here. Like you can go to Service Cloud. So in Salesforce, these are different clouds, right? And under clouds, you have tabs. Like whereas in HubSpot, you can see You have tabs here, and you can do the stuff here, right? So similar concept, but in a little bit different way. And then you have the cells. Um, so in the cells, you have contacts, like I showed. You can do a contact here, and it's taking time, right? For some reason, it's pretty slow compared to HubSpot. So I go to the same user for a contact, and you can see that interface looks a bit different, right? You can tell a lot of things going on. If you're thinking that I'm biased towards HubSpot, that's not the case, right? I'm a Salesforce architect. I work on Salesforce every day, right? Along with the different technology. So I'm not trying to be biased, like I said when I said, HubSpot does certain things better. So I'm trying to be give you an unbiased opinion, right? By wearing an architect hat, not a Salesforce architect, a generic architect. So that's why I said I like some of the interface. Um, you know, uh, I'm not interested in any conversation about this now. And a lot of things here, you can see that there's a GitHub icon here. It will take you to settings. So if you have worked with Salesforce, like I said, right, the learning curve is not that bad. You can easily move from HubSpot to Salesforce or Salesforce to HubSpot. It's easy, in my opinion, if you're a Salesforce user migrating to HubSpot uh, compared to other way around, because Salesforce is huge, right? You got different clouds, so there's a huge learning curve. But other way around, it's easier. So yeah, okay. Let's look at some of the HubSpot, pros and cons. And okay, pros: core CRM software is free, real-time lead behavior, personalized email sequencing. Cons: per user plan can get expensive for small business user. So this you might have to consider, and you have to contact their account executive. Only one email per contact. So this might be a big leg down, but if you're a small user, you can perhaps work around. So what does the free plan contains, right? So you got calling, 5 templates, notification, 5 snippets, 5 documents, online booking page, Salesforce Hub Professionals, 15 deals pipeline. So, like I said, right, this is usually an optimum solution if you're talking about a small business, perhaps a medium, but it's not at the enterprise level, right? For an enterprise level, I would say HubSpot is not there yet. Maybe in the future. It's my opinion, Salesforce stands out any day when it comes to an enterprise level solution. But definitely for a small scale or a medium scale, it's worth giving a try if you wanted to evaluate, right? I would honestly recommend you guys at least give a try, right? To at least to test the water in both the system to see which one works for you, or contact the account executive to give you guys the demo to see, hey, this is our business requirement, this is the RFP, so come and show us what you can do, right? And Salesforce Enterprise. So yeah, and um, okay, so that is from a. Let's look at the Salesforce review, right? I mean, I know lots of pros and cons, right? Extensive customization, obviously, right? This is one of my favorite part. But like I said, right, there are still some things which I'm not very happy about it, like from an Apex perspective, right? When it comes to LWC, it's all JavaScript, right? So if you're comfortable with JavaScript, the world is yours. You can do pretty much anything you can do with the JavaScript, you can do at LWC, right? The lead management, powerful reporting, easy to set up, free integration with over, yeah, the Salesforce has something called, you can do point to point, which is not a really great option, or you can use connectors. There are a lot of inbuilt connectors, or you can use a middleware. I mean, if you're talking about enterprise, there should be a middleware. So MuleSoft is one of the Salesforce product. If you're not interested in MuleSoft, there's something called Delboomi that you can try. I've used MuleSoft. I personally find MuleSoft is great, but that being said, I'm not discrediting Delboomi. Delboomi is great product. Some companies are using it, so it's just up to you, right? If you have existing middleware in place, then I would recommend you stick to that, right? Rather than reinventing your wheel. Obviously, Salesforce will interact either way with any of the systems. Um, so the cons: no free plan, more expensive than top competitors. That's really true. Complicated to set up and learn. Yeah, there's a big learning curve, right? There's another product as well, the ServiceNow. That's another. ServiceNow has a I mean, I haven't worked with ServiceNow. I played with it, right? I mean, it's not difficult based on my playing experience, not based on my implementation experience. I haven't implemented anything on ServiceNow, so don't quote me on that. But based on my playing experience, right? The playing field, we all like to play. Depends what you understand by that, but anyway, I'm not going to talk about it. So, based on my playing experience, I felt ServiceNow is not that bad. The learning curve is okay, quite similar to Salesforce, so it's not bad, right? So time consuming to maintain. Yes, you need an admin to maintain that. So that is an overview from a HubSpot and Salesforce perspective. I hope that's informative. The reason why I wanted to do, right, like I said, I've been hearing a lot of whispers, Chinese whispers, around HubSpot is great. Really? Okay. Salesforce is great. Really? Okay. But the lot of noise, right? It's my personal opinion, right? I have a reputation of being blunt. Whoever worked with me, they know how blunt I can be. I don't use any filter, but when I say blunt, I'm being respectful, but I love to tell things in the face, right? In a respectful way. I don't like to politically BS around. It just wastes a lot of everyone's time, right? So a lot of noise has been happening because Salesforce wanted to shut down the noise. Some says HubSpot wanted to is a solution to the problem with Salesforce's cost at the small and medium scale, because there's a rumors that Salesforce is not really paying attention to their small scale business. Like I said, I heard this information, right? How true or factual about that, I have no idea. I can't verify it, but this is what I've heard. So, and people are getting very emotional about Salesforce. I understand that some people are very passionate towards certain technology, which is nothing, which happens in every industry, right? When I was working as an SAP consultant, I used to see people getting extremely passionate about SAP. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Because they've invested decades of their time learning SAP and implementing it, architecting it. So obviously, I understand that emotional attachment. The same I've seen in the Salesforce platform, right? I've been doing Salesforce for over 8 years now, right? I have done different implementation. I've architected complex systems. Currently I'm one of the lead architects at one of the leading government agencies in New Zealand. So I understand the challenges the big industries face, right, and how Salesforce can solve them. So that's why I'm in the Salesforce ecosystem, because I personally feel Salesforce is a great platform. It has a lot of, it has a huge potential to transform, a lot of business problem into the real solutions, right? So that's why I believe in Salesforce. But that being said, like I said, HubSpot is one of the fastest growing Salesforce competitor in small scale industries, right? And I can see it making huge dent. I'm not a Nostradamus to make any prediction, but I'm saying it's going to make a huge dent. If Salesforce is not careful, it will take over a small scale industry market. I can tell you straight away, right? So they need to come up with different plan or whatever it is, right? For me, right, it doesn't matter. It's a Salesforce, tomorrow it's something else, right? At the end of the day, once you are in the consulting stuff, it shouldn't really matter which technology you recommend as long as it helps your customer. So I hope this is useful. I know it's Sunday, right? Maybe you might be busy doing barbecue. The last thing you wanted to do, guy sitting in New Zealand doing blah blah about, you know, Salesforce and HubSpot. But I thought it's important that, right, to make a video to give you that distinction. So that being said, that's all I wanted to cover in today's episode. Hope you guys have an amazing Easter. Adios.